Hi, my name is Jennifer and welcome to my channel. I'm going to be talking today about the prefrontal cortex. This is something that has to do with everybody who has attention deficit disorder. And why is it so important? Well, we're going to go into that. So the prefrontal cortex is responsible for thinking, thought analysis, regulating behavior. This includes mediating conflicting thoughts and making choices between right and wrong, and predicting the probable outcomes of actions or events. The vital region of the brain regulates short-term and long-term decision making. In addition, the PFC helps to focus thoughts, enabling people to pay attention, learn, and concentrate on goals. So you can see how important that the prefrontal cortex is. And I'm going to be talking about what is different for somebody who has ADHD when it comes to the prefrontal cortex and why this is so, I guess, important moving forward, and how we can, as people who have ADHD, how we can do things that can help us regulate our prefrontal cortex more so as a normal person, but not, you're never going to completely get there, but how we can regulate and how we can normalize as much as possible. So a person with ADD is going to basically react to kind of whatever comes up on their radar. They're not going to be able to just simply ignore something like a person who does not have attention deficit disorder, right? For people who have ADHD, the PFC is unregulated. So there's no like stop signs telling the PFC that there is certain messages, for example, that should get through first, right? There's none of that with a person who have ADHD. So what do we do with that situation, right? I mean, you could be the most motivated student ever, and I have been, okay? But it doesn't help because your brain will, it's almost like your brain is fighting against you. It's terrible. You know, I've been living with ADHD for 45 years. I'm sure, for example, you could relate to this. You have an idea that you're going to do the dishes, and so you see that the laundry beeps, and you go to the laundry and you start folding the laundry, and then you remember that, oh my gosh, I was just cleaning the toilet. I need to finish cleaning the bathroom. So you run upstairs and you start cleaning the bathroom again. And then you forgot that you didn't feed the dog. So you're like, oh my God, I got to go feed the dog. So you go feed the dog. And then you're like, you don't even remember what you were doing really. Like it literally just like you have that short-term memory. And so then you go sit on the couch and you're like, well, I'm going to take a break and I'm going to death scroll on my phone because I don't have, it's like, I don't even know like what I was supposed to be doing, like, or what I was doing. That's how short term of a memory we have with ADHD. It's crazy, but it's the truth. And so how do we help this at all? Because it's such a detriment to our lives, right? Furthermore, we have what's called time blindness. We cannot understand that we are not going to be able to get 400 tasks done in 30 minutes time. And it's taken me I'm 45 years old or 44 years old, but about to be 45. But it's taken me honestly until now to realize like, okay, that's not realistic, right? That's not realistic. It takes having a partner or a trusted friend to also help regulate us and explain to us, get us, be kind of like an accountability partner to explain like that's not logical. You're not going to be able to get all that done in half an hour's time, right? So we can have people that we trust to be there for us to help regulate us. It's good to have a spouse that doesn't have attention deficit disorder because they're going to be more realistic about things. Also, let's talk about mood swings for a second. Mood swings are a common thing with people who have ADHD. I am absolutely guilty of this. I don't know if any of you that are listening have what's called ADHD rage. One thing about our brains is I don't know if it's a spiritual thing or if it's an actual physical thing, but I do know that, for example, let's just talk about world events, right? A lot of us who have ADHD kind of saw like ahead of time the bigger picture, right? We just get it. We just see like it's weird. It's almost like I don't want to say we're prophetic or, some weird hyper spiritual thing, but we're just able to see things for what they are. And ahead of time, we're just like, yeah, this is like what's going to happen. And I called a lot of this stuff back in 2020, 2019 even. And I just saw kind of the things that were coming down the pipe. I saw the propaganda, the mass manipulation. I was just aware of things and hyper aware to that degree. And I got told, you're crazy, you're too negative. Like, it's always you're too negative, right? And it really, yes, most people though, and not just people who have ADD, but most people in general come from more of a negative standpoint. My husband happens to be one of the rare individuals who is hyper positive, and that can be a positive or a negative thing though, because sometimes if you look too much on the positive side and you see only the best in people, you can get taken advantage of, and that has happened in our lives. However, on the flip side, I tend to go hyper negative, and that has also affected me with being able to have relationships, because it's not just the fact that I'm hyper negative, I guess. Like, yes, I can be hyper negative, but it's the fact that I can see certain things that's kind of like duh to me, whereas other people, they can't see, or they just I don't understand it really. Is it they want to bury their heads in the sand, or they just literally can't see? I don't know. But you and I that have the ADHD or ADD, we typically can see things more clearly quicker. And we just kind of get it out of the way, if that makes any sense. Like, we're just fast thinkers and we're fast processors. But also this leads to what I feel like can be boredom in life in general, because our brains are going so fast that it's almost like we're like, oh yeah, I've been there, done that already, even though it hasn't even come yet. It's like, if that's any way to explain, what I'm trying to say. However, we have to be honest with ourselves that sometimes when we try something and it doesn't work, we tend to sometimes think that we're special and it's going to work for us, even though it's never worked for somebody else. So there are some blind sides, with ADHD for sure. And we're not always 100% perfect in like predicting the future and knowing what's about to come, or having an intuition about things. We can also tend to feel like people don't understand us, so we isolate ourselves, and that's not healthy. I've been through that many times in my life. I felt like people don't either understand me because of the ADHD, or people just don't understand that I can kind of see what's happening, and I'm just a realist. Like, I always call myself a hyper realist, and that, for me personally, I can't really tolerate people that are what I call toxic positivity, the toxic positivity thing. It's like you're fake positive, but you don't want to actually deal with things head on. That's an annoyance typically for people who have ADHD, because we're just so like just straightforward people usually most of the time, right? But this attitude can really cause us to stop trying at all, when we just think everything is so negative, and we don't want that, right? Because that's not, at the end of the day, that's not helpful to just stop trying completely in life. I mean, we know the world is in peril right now, but we can't just quit life, because a lot of us have children and responsibilities and pets and homes and cars and jobs, and we can't just check out, because not only irresponsible, it's unfair to those in our lives, right? And it's unfair to ourselves, because it's basically quitting and saying, I'm not even gonna try anymore. And trust me, I've been down that road so many times where I'm like, I just want to go and live in my car, because my car's paid off, thank God. But I don't want to do bills anymore. I don't want to do responsibilities anymore. It's so much harder for me to have to like take out the trash and mop the floor on a daily basis and clean the toilets and then go to work and drive and do all the things that you have to do, cook meals for your kids and yourself. And, it is exhausting. I mean, it's exhausting for anybody, but it's especially exhausting for those of us with ADHD, right? Also, I want to touch on mood regulation and maintaining motivation and performance. So, we can be on track. Let's say, I mean, when I was in college, I had a goal. I was hyper focused. I was also on Adderall all the time. Okay, I got to give some credit where credit's due. Haven't taken Adderall in, gosh, I don't know, like over probably 18 years. But I went to math lab every single day because I was actually in school for nursing at the time. I was bound and determined I was going to do well in math because I had to take college algebra. I did everything in my power to take that, study. Um, I got deployed halfway through the semester for the Army for active duty when I was in the active reserves after I got out of active duty. But I had an emotional situation at the time with my ex, and it affected me so dramatically. Not actually in math, because it affected me in when I was taking chemistry. I could not focus. But see, I was so laser focused. I was so dead set on making those grades, right? But this emotional situation came up and it completely derailed me. Like, this is what happens with people who have ADHD. We get completely derailed by somebody that, like an emotional thing that happens, like it comes out of the blue and we just cannot regulate ourselves. So my point is, something that we might have been able to do yesterday, we're not able to do today. Okay. So this is kind of I just want to touch on all these things, and then we want to get to some solutions that we can do to get us into a better place. Okay, I've talked about problems, and now I'm going to talk about some solutions. So the first thing is that we as ADHD people cannot multitask. And I would actually argue that I believe most people can't multitask technically in their brain. I don't think the brain was cut out to multitask. I think it's been something that's been flung upon us by the corporate, engine trying to get us to like do more and more and more for less money and less time. I do not agree with multitasking, but for an ADHD person, it's actually detrimental. It begins to fracture your brain literally to where you absolutely go into freeze mode and you can do absolutely nothing. So what is a solution to this? Well, hyperfocus is the solution to this. And by that, I mean, if you are going to be, for example, we'll say studying a certain subject matter. In today's world, we're going to get distracted with our phone. We're going to get distracted with social media. So the first step is you turn off all your notifications on your phone. As a matter of fact, I would even put your phone away if you can. And you're going to have that one item right in front of you. And that's it. Everything else goes away until you complete that task. And I would say there's what's called the Pomodoro technique, and that's about working in like 25-minute intervals. And you work on this for about 25 minutes, and then you give yourself a break. The breaks are very important. You need to get up, walk around, get the blood flowing, but complete the task, okay? Complete whatever task it is before you move on to the next. I know it sounds simple and like, I heard this 1,000 times, but it really will start to rewire your brain for success, because once you start checking off like these tasks and completing things fully, it does something in the brain where it motivates you to keep going, and it actually is like positive reinforcement. Okay, so we definitely want to finish tasks, and we want to eliminate all distractions from our desk or working area. Okay, next thing is going to be limiting your screen time. And this is a very, very difficult one for us that like to what we call death scroll. I am guilty of it. When I don't want to have to think, I would go and sit down and I would scroll through Instagram, and I would, scroll through Facebook for hours. And then I look at my screen time and it's like 9, 10, 12 hours. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. This is rotting your brain, literally, even if you're not ADHD. But this is just destroying your brain and your ability to focus. Like, they've done scientific research on this. So if you have to wean yourself down from social media, that's obviously the best way, maybe, if you can't just go cold turkey. But for example, what I'm doing now is I'm going to be promoting this program I'm developing on social media, but I'm not going to be browsing through social media. That's because I'm going to be teaching others how to eliminate social media as far as like death scrolling. So how can I be teaching that and doing it myself? Do you see what I'm saying? So that is going to make you so much happier. I believe truly that social media has ruined people. I'm not even joking. Like, I mean, anybody can argue this pretty much for the statistics now. So this is going to help your brain so much more calm down and actually stay focused on the task at hand and retain the knowledge that you have just learned or the reading material or whatever it is. So we also want to make our tasks meaningful, meaning that, you know, we don't want to just like, if you just doing a task to do a task, you're going to lose interest, right? So it's kind of better to like imagine why, or like what is a bigger goal, right? For example, if you're trying to save money and you're not spending every day and you're going out to get Starbucks every day or whatever coffee you like, you want to, why are you doing it? Like, are you doing it because you're saving for a cruise? That's what I'm doing for my daughter's 16th birthday. So I'm saving that money. And so I can actually discipline myself now to, yeah, that to me, that's a task, you know, to not spend money or to spend like my money wisely, because I have a specific goal. So this is going to help your brain also to not be so like, because you're not going to care. I mean, you just why save? Why do this if I, you know, don't get any reward from it, right? So we want to give ourselves a reward for our tasks. If you are on medication, I am not. I haven't been on medication for many years. I do take supplements, though. I do take Quality of Mind and Quality of Focus, and they have helped me tremendously. And I'm about to embark upon a carnivore-style diet once again. The original, first time I tried it for 5 months, lost 25 pounds effortlessly, and my brain was amazing, for like, about lack of a better word. So I'm going to be re-embarking upon that and developing a program for cooking carnivore for the ADHD brain that will come later on down the line. For right now, hey, you know, you've got to set your alarms to take your medication. You don't want to take your medication late in the day, especially if you're on Adderall or a stimulant. That's going to be very detrimental. So make sure that those are the things that are put on your alarms. And so the last one, it should have actually been the first one, but some of the other things I feel like you need to get through to get to this one, the use of organizational tools consistently. Now, we have a love-hate relationship with organizational tools. I've tried so many of them. Okay, no joke. I've tried so many of them. I'm going to be honest that Google Tasks is like the best thing that I've used. Now, I still don't look at it every day. So this is why it's training yourself, giving yourself a reward to do the task in the first place, and then setting up that organizational system that works for you. Some people use a paper diary. Some people use a bullet journal. Some people like to use apps like I think there's To-Do List, Trello, like I said, the Google Task List. I like that one. A time management method, and also like a Google Calendar is really good. I'm not a fan of the iPhone calendar for some reason. I don't like it. So I do like the Google Calendar. And again, I'm just going to bring up the Pomodoro technique one more time because it's 25 minutes that you give yourself to work on a task. You time yourself with a timer. You can use your phone. And you then want to give yourself a break because you want your brain to reset. Not too long of a break though. So, also, the last thing I want to say today is move your body, right? Exercise is the most important thing ever. And I can tell you my worst days and my worst moments are when I'm not moving my body. I have a Pilates reformer in my basement. I have a trampoline in my basement. I have a neuro-optimal neurofeedback machine in my basement too, which is amazing. But I have let it sit there stagnant for over a month because I was having hip pains, and I'm like, but I'm having more pain because I'm not moving my body. But furthermore, moving the body is going to affect the brain in a positive way. So it's going to help so much. So again, the first thing I can say is get out of bed, walk. That's all you got to do just to start off. You start off walking 20 minutes a day. That's it. And then you build upon that. But that gets you into a habit of moving your body. Okay, so that was kind of a long video. That was my first video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave your comments below, and I'm also open for suggestions. I'm going to keep going with this. I just want to help as many people as I can. I hope you guys have a fabulous day, and take care. Bye-bye.